Hey everyone, this is Laura Gadenik with Laura Gadenik Astrology, and I just wanted to make a quick video about 4 things that astrology can't help you with. I've had several instances over the last couple of years with clients who seem to have expectations of me and of astrology that are just kind of unrealistic, and so I thought this would be good for everyone who is interested in astrology and learning about astrology and maybe getting a reading. What astrology can do for you. But first, I'd love it if you could like this video, subscribe to my channel, perhaps comment. I'd love to hear from you. And that'll help my channel grow and for me to be able to produce more content as well. Okay, so 4 things that astrology can't help you with. Number 1, astrology isn't fortune telling. That is the job of a psychic, and us astrologers, we're not psychic. Perhaps some of us are. I personally don't identify as being psychic. I am intuitive. I have hunches. I follow that instinct, right? But I can't tell you for sure when you're going to have a baby, when you're going to get married, if you're going to win $1 million, which likely you won't. I seriously had one client ask me if they were going to win the lottery. And I was just like, when would be the best time to buy a lottery ticket? I was like, I can't tell you that, that's not something that I can do. Astrology is the map, right? It's the map of what's going on, but it's not the terrain. It's not the territory. We can't specifically tell you exactly what's going to happen, but we can tell you the kinds of things that will happen, the kinds of experiences you will have. And this is because astrology is first and foremost archetypal. So we can tell you kind of generally speaking, when you have Saturn transiting over your descendant, the part of the chart that pertains to relationships, these themes, Saturnian themes, are going to come up. It could be that you meet someone where you make a commitment to them. Saturn is a planet about commitment and stability and endurance and longevity. It could be that you kind of go through some difficulty with someone that you're currently in a relationship with. Saturn is a planet about challenges, difficulty, things that are hard in general and having to work through something. And of course, I can get more information based on what sign is Saturn transiting through in your 7th house? Is it the sign of Aries, a sign where Saturn really struggles? That might indicate some really intense challenges. Or is it the sign of Aquarius, where Saturn is at home in the sign of Aquarius? That might indicate more of the positive manifestations of Saturn in this part of your chart. I can tell you, Saturn in the 7th house, transiting the 7th house, perhaps your partner or your spouse is being given more responsibility, perhaps in their work or in an organization they're part of, or just generally in their life, perhaps they're given some higher duty, some more responsibility, a Saturn theme, right? So those are the kinds of things that one might expect when Saturn crosses over the descendant and is transiting through the 7th house of relationships. But once again, I can't tell you exactly what's going to happen. I can't tell you that you will meet someone, that you will get married, etc. It's the kinds of things that may happen. There's never a guarantee, but there are the signs, right? And that's what I have spent so much time studying and learning, is learning to read the signs. Okay, number 2, astrology is not an excuse for bad behavior. For instance, so let's say I'm a Virgo, right? So if I'm sometimes a little too detail oriented or too critical or whatever of maybe a friend, I can't just say that's just who I am. I'm a Virgo, right? No, we can't use astrology and our signs as bad behavior. Another example, and every sign has its negative side and its more positive side, right? I think of it as when a sign or, when someone is under stress, then maybe the more negative qualities of their sign come through when they're stressed, when they're feeling defensive or unsafe or just generally not good. Some more of the negative qualities might come through, whereas when we're feeling good and safe and happy, right, some of the more positive qualities of the sign will come through. But for instance, another example, Aries. Aries kind of has a bad rap for being sometimes inconsiderate, or they kind of get the reputation of being rude, or because Aries is a sign that ruled by Mars likes to go its own way, likes to lead the way, likes to separate from the group and do its own thing and be independent. And sometimes in that, there's like not much consideration for other people. There's not much checking in with others, or there can be kind of like a selfishness associated with Aries when it's manifesting in a more negative way. So if someone who is an Aries is like, interrupting you and being rude, or just being impatient. Aries can also sometimes be pretty impatient, ruled by Mars, once again, which is a planet that wants to go, 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 like right now and cannot wait. So sometimes Aries can be impatient and there's this sense of urgency. And so, if you have an Aries friend, for instance, who's like, rushing you along and be like, okay, let's go, and they're being kind of rude about it, like you can't excuse that, right? That person can't be like, oh, I'm just an Aries, this is who I am, right? Like, no, like our signs are not excuses for bad behavior. We still have to have etiquette and be polite and be nice, and all the while being ourselves. So take accountability and don't use astrology as an excuse. Okay, number 3, astrology can't make decisions for you, and neither can I, and neither can any other astrologer. Astrology is simply information, right? We're giving you information. We're reflecting to you what cycle you're currently in, what's coming up, the energy that is coming up for you archetypally. Once again, archetypally, it's the map, not the territory. And so, you might be going you might be going through something psychologically, emotionally, physically, spiritually, or otherwise. And astrology is great at reflecting that. It can really speak to your experience and validate what you're going through. And sure, there is certain advice I can give, or that any astrologer can give, right? Like, oh, you have Saturn transiting your natal moon. That might feel like a very lonely, isolating time. So it's a good time to really try to strengthen your connections with people, really try to reach out and form community. Or it's a good time, the moon ruling over the body, it's a good time to maybe get into like a workout routine and take care of yourself, and but not to an extreme, right? Like, we want to be mindful, because Saturn crossing over the moon can bring up that extreme behavior of like wanting the body to be perfect, or to be perfectly fit, or whatever. So, there's balance to everything. But yeah, we can give advice on like how to work with the energy, but we can't tell you, oh yeah, you should do this, or you should do that. Like, ultimately you still have to make decisions on your own. And astrology is information that can be really helpful for you. Okay, number 4, astrology can't fix your mental health issues. Once again, astrology can reflect what might be going on for you. If you have, once again, Saturn transiting the moon, lonely time, depressive time, likely, right? So it's a good time to go see a therapist, take care of your mental health. If you have transiting Neptune opposing your sun, that can signify a time of loss, or a longing, or grief, or kind of loss of hope, or just feeling trodden down, or maybe a little depressed and kind of sad, right? Like, these are all kind of Neptunian signatures that come out, especially with harsher aspects like oppositions and squares. And if you're curious what aspects are, I'm going to be making a video soon about what those are. So check back in like a week or two. But so astrology, right? We can't necessarily fix things. It's more, once again, information. It's more about showing you the timing of things, like how long will this aspect or will this transit last? And, what is that planet asking of you, right? If Neptune is opposing your sun, how can we use that constructively? That's how I like to think of the transits and the planets. Like, sure, astrology can't fix your mental health problems for you, but it can certainly point the way, or point you towards a path that might help heal, that might help you work with the energy, that might help you, utilize the energy constructively. Because, if Neptune is opposing your sun, this might be a time where you feel kind of lost, and there might be some grief that comes up that, it's kind of time to process. It's time to work through. It might be a time to kind of explore and not get too set on an idea or an ideal or a vision, because it's likely not going to work out, but to kind of rather go with the flow and swim about in the ocean and just, focus on healing and what feels good, but also being mindful of delusions, because Neptune opposing the sun can indicate getting lost in things that are too good to be true and seeing the world through rose-colored glasses in an unrealistic manner. So those are the kinds of things that I would tell a client, and how to utilize the energy. But I can't fix anything for you. And I think clients come, or sometimes clients come with that expectation of like, okay, now what? What do I do with this information? I'm like, well, I just gave you the map. I just gave you the timeline of how long this is going to last, and some tips and tricks and tools to work with energy. So you have to go do something. Like, you have to take action. So that is the things I came up with about the things astrology can't help you with. I'm sure there are more, but astrology is really wonderful tool to help you feel seen, validated, help you know the timing of things, how long things will last, kind of where you're at on this karmic path in this bodily place, right? Like in this physical world, like it's a map. And so use it as such, but also recognizing that your personal experiences and the terrain of your life is very unique and can't always be necessarily seen by astrology or super specifically kind of known, I guess. So anyway, that's it. Please like and subscribe and perhaps comment. And if you're curious about your personal birth chart and the transits that are going on for you personally, I do readings. Just reach out. You can comment. My email is consultation@lauragadenick.com. My website is lauragadenick.com. I'd love to do a reading for you. Otherwise, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.